Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into something that is going to change how you think about building AI applications. Google's Gemini File Search Tool and RAG implementation. If you ever struggled with the context limitations, hallucinations, or keeping your AI responses accurate and up to date, this video is for you. We are going to break down exactly how this works, why it is a game changer, and how you can monetize applications built with this technology. Let's get into it. So here's the thing, traditional AI models have a major limitation. They are trained on the data up to a certain date, and they can only handle a limited amount of context in each conversation. Imagine you are building a customer support chatbot for a SaaS company. You have hundreds of pages of documentation, FAQs, product update, or policy documents. How do you feed all of this information to your AI without hitting tokens limits? And how do you keep it updated without retraining the entire model? This is where RAG comes in, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. And Google's implementation with Gemini File Search Tool makes it incredibly powerful and honestly pretty straightforward to implement. Let me break down RAG in the simplest way possible. RAG is essentially 3 steps process. First, storage. You upload your documents, PDFs, text files, whatever knowledge base you have into a vector store. Think of this as a smart database that understands the meaning of your content, not just keywords. Second step, retrieval. When user asks a question, the system doesn't send all knowledge base to AI. Instead, it intelligently searches and retrieves only that piece of data that is related to the query. Third step is generation. The AI model takes that retrieved context and generates a response based on it. So you're getting answers that are grounded on your actual documents, not just the model's training data. The beauty here? Your AI can access massive amount of information without hitting context limits. And you can update your knowledge base without retraining anything. You just update the documents. Now Google has made this incredibly easy with their Gemini API and File Search Tool. Let me walk you through how it actually works. And here is the architecture. Google provides you with API where you can upload your documents, PDFs, text file, code documentation, whatever you need. These files are automatically processed and stored in their vector database. When you create a request to Gemini model, you can enable that file search tool. Here is what happens behind the scenes. The model receives your user's query, automatically determines what kind of information it needs, searching through your uploaded files using semantic search, meaning it understands the meaning and context, not just keywords, and then retrieves the most relevant chunks of data. So what makes this powerful? First, it's multimodal. You can upload PDFs with the charts, tables, images. Gemini can understand all of it. Second, it's automatic. You don't have to manually chunk your documents. Google handles that for you. Third, it's scalable. You can upload gigabytes of data and retrieval still will be fast and efficient. And if you want to know more details about this and especially how to integrate it, I would recommend you to check the Google's documentation about that tool. Here you can find some code samples, best practices for document preparation, pricing and quota information, and examples of different use cases. Alright, let's talk about money side, because this is where it gets very interesting for us developers. First, how is this priced? Google charges in 2 ways. Storage costs for your files in the vector database, and API calls when you query the model. The storage is incredibly cheap. We are talking pennies per gigabyte per month. The API calls follow the standard Gemini pricing based on input and output tokens. The smart thing here? The file search tool is incredibly efficient. Instead of sending entire documents with each request, which would cost you a fortune in input tokens, you are only sending a query and Google retrieves the relevant context internally. Now, how can you monetize it? First, it could be SaaS documentation chatbot, as I mentioned already. It could be legal and compliance tools. Besides that, it can be very useful for educational platforms or internal knowledge management systems. Also, you can imagine building e-commerce product advisors with that. So there are tons of ideas which you can implement now much faster with that tool. Now we covered a lot of theory today. If you want to see the actual code implementation, how to integrate this into a real application, file uploads, queries, the whole workflow, drop a comment below saying show the integration. If there is enough interest, I will show hands-on tutorial and we will build this thing from scratch. If this video was helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to not miss next dev insights, and see you in the next one.